SweetPapito.com. Visualization is by far one of the most powerful tools for good setting and attracting what you want. Yet few people know how to properly visualize. With the right technique you can begin to see outstanding results in successfully attracting what you want, granted you full apply what you learn. First, you are visualizing all the time. You may not be aware of it, but you are always conjuring up images in your mind. When you are speaking on the telephone to someone, you are most of 10 times trying to see in your mind what they are telling you. You also visualize when you are deep in thought. When you are worrying about paying your debt or worrying about the way you would really like to live your life, you are also visualizing what you want. The hard part, however, is to use that creative force to actually attract the things you want. This is where many people go terribly wrong. Here is a great test to help you understand the most effective way to visualize. Think of the last time you were deep in thought. Now try to remember what that felt like. If you can recall that time, you will notice that you were deep inside of yourself. You were unaware of anyone or anything, and as you were allowing yourself to visualize, you could feel clearly that you were having the experience as if it were real. That is the power of visualization. When people ask all the time, "How do I visualize the things I want?" I tell them the same way you visualize the things that you don't want. You see, when you are feeling anxious and fearful, you lock yourself away in your inner mind with those images. You lose sight of other possibilities, and if it is something that happened to you, then you recreate it in its full detail with all your emotions all over again. Try to immerse yourself with full emotions when you are trying to create the things you want. Many thoughts may come to distract you, but if you will redirect your mind to what you do want, your mind will be trained to hold that thought. There are many tools and techniques that can greatly empower your ability to visualize if you really have a hard time. You can add extreme magnetism to any mental image you want to create as long as you apply the right technique. SweetPapito.com. A man is a small individualized part of the universal mind, alike in essence but infinitely less in degree. Just as the universal mind finds expression through all the universe, so does man, when awake to his own interior powers, express himself by the power of his thought, through his body, his work, his circumstances and his life. Thus far can he go and no farther. In himself he is an epitome of the universe. Outside of the miniature universe he has no jurisdiction. By this I mean that man has the power to do what he likes with his own life, but he has no right to dominate other people or to interfere with their lives. I mention this because there is a pernicious practice being taught today. It is known as mind domination. People are being taught that by using what is called a hypnotic gaze, by telepathy and heterosuggestion they can dominate other people. It is quite true. It can be done and is being done. This is precisely the same method as that practiced by certain criminals in America. By this method people are being deprived of money and property. They sign documents they do not wish to sign, simply because they are compelled to do so by mind domination. No one is to be safe from these misguided people. While you sit in a public room or theater, somebody may be behind you concentrating his hypnotic gaze upon the back of your neck. When you receive a visit from a traveling salesman, he may be working some of his mind-dominating black art upon you in order to coerce you into acting against your better judgment, simply and solely that he may reap a temporary benefit. This sort of thing is not only being practiced, but is being taught, both in this country and America. I mentioned this in order to put you on your guard against such practices. First, so that you can avoid being hypnotized by these people, and second, that you should never under any circumstances use your mind forces in order to dominate other people. Whoever prostitutes his mental powers in this way is hurrying to disaster. To so misuse the tremendous powers of the mind is to destroy oneself, body and soul. All who sink to these practices are deliberately creating for themselves an inferno of trouble. The powers of the mind are like electricity. For the latter, if used according to certain laws, produces beneficial results. If used in opposition to these laws, it burns, maims, and destroys. So it is with the powers of the mind. Used right, they lead to success, happiness and all accomplishment. If used wrongly, they grind to powder. Both hypnotism and mind domination are being so largely used and taught that it is advisable to always work against them. These are really a revival of the black magic of bygone days. Sorcery, witchcraft, necromancy, thaumaturgy, they are all the practice of the same power, and all who use them bring destruction upon their own heads. Sorcery, black magic, or hypnotism, or whatever you like to call it, is accomplished by the lower mind of man. The higher self, The perfect mental or spiritual creature, the real ego, has nothing to do with it. This is why hypnotic healing is always harmful. If a person is healed by hypnotic suggestion in about 3 months' time, either the same disease will reappear, or a new and worse disease will manifest itself. But healing done by the higher perfect mind, that is one with, and forms part of, the universal infinite mind, that is in turn one and part of the infinite principle of good, such healing is permanent and can have no relapse. By this we see that the higher mind is infinitely more powerful than the lower. Therefore hypnotism and mind domination can be overcome and guarded against by the use of the higher mental powers. To work against hypnotism, it is necessary not only to live as much as possible in the atmosphere of your perfect world of mind, but also to deny the power of hypnotism to affirm the perfect power of the perfect universal mind of which you, your higher self, form a part. If you work in this way you will make yourself proof against all hypnotism, sorcery, witchcraft and malpractice of every kind. The law which keeps the universe running so smoothly is the law of attraction. It is this law that brought it together. It is this law that keeps it from falling apart. Those who practice mind domination are acting in direct opposition to this immutable law. They are trying to do by force that which should be accomplished by attraction, therefore they are encompassing their own mental, moral and physical disintegration. All the universe, in all its planes, is ruled by this law. In the spiritual world it is called the law of love. In the mental world the law of attraction. In the material world it is known as the law of affinity. They all mean the same, in essence they are the same. Just as the electrons are called together in the invisible ether, thus to form an atom so, in turn, are atoms brought together, and by vibrating at different rates of speed, create what we call form. Thus is matter built up into all the beautiful forms we see, simply by the law of attraction. It is this law that holds all matter together. If it failed, rocks would fly asunder and all things would disintegrate, because the power that attracted one atom to another would have ceased to operate. It is the same in the mental world, everything works according to this same law. It is because like creates like and like attracts like that it is possible to revolutionize our lives by the power of thought. SweetPapito.com. There's no way to fake integrity. You are either in integrity offering a pure positive vibration which the law of attraction responds to, or you're out of integrity which creates a negative or mixed vibration, which the law of attraction cannot ignore. Here's a real-life story which demonstrates what happens to our vibration when we are out of integrity. I was feeling pretty upbeat after our coaching session yesterday and really excited about winning a prize pack from the radio station. After picking up my prize, I noticed Spyware, an electronics store, and decided to go in and compare prices with an item I had just bought from Radio Shack yesterday. Spyware had the exact same item on sale for $10 less, so I bought it with the intention of returning the first item to Radio Shack. When I compared the two products they were exactly the same, with the exact same barcodes and packaging. However, I noticed the cheaper item had one wire a couple centimeters shorter than the more expensive item. I made a decision to return the item with the shorter wire back to Radio Shack and keep the original item, thus saving $10, but keeping the better product. After the clerk had finished all the paperwork I felt extremely guilty. But then I rationalized it was too late to do anything about it and told myself I would just have to let this guilt go. What a way to bring my high vibration to a crashing halt. I reminded myself that this is why I shouldn't do things like this in the first place, because not only can I not live with the guilt, but now it is a double whammy, because I'm so aware of my vibration, and this is bringing it way down. Anytime we do something that is not in alignment with our core values, we feel negative emotions which hinder us from receiving the real desires of our heart. The antidote is simple: be honest, pay all debts, return what you've borrowed, speak kindly about others and keep your word. In other words, do nothing that will hinder the flow of pure positive energy toward you. Be true to yourself and you'll open the way for receiving everything that will make you happy. This same client had such an opportunity to make it right on an energetic level. Again, she wrote, I was feeling pretty bad when I returned to my office, and then remembered I needed to go to the bank. I went up to the bank machine and there was $40 sitting in the slot. Someone had forgotten to take it with them after they finished their transaction. They had also forgotten to take their bank slip. I took both out of the machine and put them in my pocket while I did my own banking. Now I was dealing with the moral dilemma of what I should do with the found money. I so badly wanted to keep the money as I am heavily in debt with all my credit cards almost maxed out. I tried rationalizing. The bank slip doesn't have the account number on it, so it's not like one can trace it, but it did say that the person had a balance of $195, which isn't very much. I remembered how I felt when I once left $20 in the bank machine myself and went back for it, but it was gone. I then decided to go into the bank and leave the $40 with the bank teller. While I was waiting in line, another lady came into the bank and told me I left my card in the bank machine, so I went back to get it. Then she came back again saying now I'd left my bank slip in the machine. This is how frazzled I was. Anyways, I gave the money to a bank teller with my business card and I am feeling much better. I feel like the universe gave me an opportunity not only to redeem myself but also an opportunity to change my vibration after something I've done in the past that I feel badly about. Indeed. This client demonstrates the wonderful way the law of attraction works. Her dominant intention was to offer a high vibration so that she can attract more money and enjoy her life. The law of attraction arranged an opportunity. Her actions in the first opportunity caused her vibration to drop, which didn't feel good. So she reset her intention to feel good, and the law of attraction sent her another opportunity to take actions that feel better. SweetPapito.com. I've seen too many people beat themselves up as they learn about the law of attraction and begin to apply it in their lives. Why are they so hard on themselves? Because when their desire doesn't materialize in a few days, they think they aren't doing it right or they don't believe enough. They are under the impression that in order to receive, they must have 100% belief, no doubt at all. And so they try to convince themselves, and the universe, that they do have 100% belief, when, in their heart, they don't. Here's good news. You don't need 100% belief. Just 51% to start the process of receiving all your goals, desires and hopes. Whatever you want in life will start to become your reality. Just believe that it's possible for you to have what you've asked for. All you need to do is tip the scales slightly and you will begin to notice small evidence that your desire is on its way. As you stay in the mindset of possibility, possibility grows into probability. Probability grows into belief and belief grows into certainty. Certainty is the opposite of doubt. Here's a true story I received this week from Tony, a coaching client. Since learning about the law of attraction, I have discovered that there are times when I cannot be the way I'd like to be. This week, I found myself in an impossible situation and I remembered what you said. Instead of starting from a place of certainty, 100% guarantee, start with it's possible. We visited friends in another state this weekend. On our return flight, airport security was so tight, we actually missed our flight by 4 minutes. We arrived at our gate, literally the farthest gate in the airport, with 6 minutes to spare, but they close the aircraft 10 minutes before departure and do not open it for anyone. We were put on the standby list for the next flight, which was full. Every flight after that next one was full, and it was important that we get back to go to work Monday. We both have full schedules, and staying another night was less than ideal. I couldn't bring myself to believe that we were going to get on that next flight as standby. My wife was still freaking out that we missed our previous flight. We had run out of baby food, and my son was getting cranky for a nap. I could not bring myself to believe we were getting on that flight, but I kept thinking it's possible. The next thing I know, one of the flight attendants took a fancy to my son, and started chatting with my wife, and before you know it, we have, literally, the last 2 seats on the aircraft. And she arranged it so they were together, and we had a window. It's still hard to believe I vibrated us onto that aircraft, but I did keep it open as a possibility. So you were right, I only had to believe by 51%. Thank you, Rebecca. Tony G., New York. Think about all the times you have received something when you still had doubts about it. What is your desire today? Has anyone else ever received what you desire? If so, then is it possible that you can have it too? If you can believe, you will receive. SweetPapito.com